Hello, good morning. My name is Haziq Rizwan, and today I'll be talking about our HRM issue, which is going to be diversity. So, to begin, I'll be talking about the HRM definition. So, the meaning of HRM is the process of hiring, motivating, maintaining, training, compensating, and also retaining employees. So, the primary goal of HRM is to maximize employee contributions to enhance the productivity and the efficiency. So this will assure that the workforce strategy will align with the organizational objective. It is important because HRM will make sure that the business organization will become smooth in their operations, and it will also improve employee engagement and also enhance the overall performance. So, since we'll be talking about diversity issues, I'll start with the first issue, which is going to be unconscious bias. So, in unconscious bias, it is when individuals unknowingly or unknowingly favor or discriminate against other people. So, let's say in a hiring process, it will influence how recruiters will assume resumes, conduct interviews, and also select candidates. For example, people with affinity bias would prefer candidates who would have shared similar backgrounds or interests. Bias can also emerge when candidates are judged by their names, photos, or their perceived appearance. So I'll move on to the next one, which is communication barriers. So in communication barriers, there's if the workplace is diverse, for example, from different countries, there will obviously be language differences and cultural differences, and sometimes this can lead to misunderstandings and even unclear instructions. So, for example, I will be giving uh, an interview, or I'll be giving a question to international student, and the international student will not understand, perhaps because it's not his or her main language. So this can lead to mistakes, and it will slow down the process in uh, the workplace. There's also nonverbal communication like body language and tone, which can also vary across different cultures. So, for example, what can be polite in my culture can also be can be unpolite in a different culture, which can lead to tension and compensation. So sorry, I'll move on to the workplace discrimination. So as for the workplace discrimination, this is when workers are discriminated because of their characteristics like age, gender, ethnicity, and religion. So, for example, in Malaysia, 29% of the workers uh, who reported facing discriminations are Indians, and then they would face the highest rates of discriminations in the job applications. So, discrimination will show up in multiple ways. So, unequal pay, limited career progression, and also unfair working conditions. Many of these will go unreported because it's a very complex reporting system, and they would fear retaliation. So I'll move on to the fourth one, which is gender inequality. So in gender inequality, this will lead to, for example, women will face these issues more because uh, of the social understanding of them. So they will face issues of leadership, fair pay, and career growth. So, for example, women would receive a lower salary offer and are underrepresented in the executive roles. So this will also play in gender stereotypes where assertiveness in women can be seen as bossy, but when seen in men, it can be seen as leadership. So women will also face other things like microaggression, biases, and worst, even sexual harassment. So last would be our generational diversity. So in today's workforce, there's many different generations. So there's the baby boomers who would back then they would value job security. Now, while there's also Gen X who would see as flexible work-life balance, same as millennials who would also prefer flexible hours and remote work, and now Gen Zs who would value more career progression and adaptability, especially since after COVID-19. So, for example, remote work and all that. Um, Having these diverse generations can create friction, and it will make it much harder for younger and older employees to mix together because some has different skill set than the other. That's all from me. I'll be moving on to the next presenter.
Hello, my name is Noor, and I will be presenting about the suggestions and recommendations of the workplace diversity. So first of all, it would be by implementing inclusive recruitment practices. This is by using neutral job ads and blind recruitment. Also, diverse interview panels to ensure fair hiring. For example, avoid using words like young and energetic and focus on the skill set instead. The second one would be providing diversity and inclusion training. So diversity training teach employees about bias, cultural awareness, and inclusion through regular workshops. For example, managers should learn how to handle discrimination complaints fairly. The third one would be establishing employee resource group, or as known as ERG. While creating groups for women, working parents, or employees with disabilities to share their experiences and give feedback. For example, an ERG group can suggest ways to improve workplace accessibility. The fourth one would be promoting open communication. By having open communication, this encourages the employees to share concerns through suggestion boxes, meetings, or like one-on-one talks. For example, town halls allow open discussion on diversity issues. The fifth one would be accountable leadership. This means by ensuring leadership accountability. This hold the leaders accountable and responsible for promoting diversity and track progress with clear goals. For example, evaluate managers based on how they're inclusive and their teams are. The last one would be regularly reviewing and updating policies. By updating policies regularly, this can review hiring, anti-discrimination, and also pay policies to stay fair and up to date. For example, adjust maternity leave or flexible working hours based on each employee needs. So these suggestions and recommendations can help create a more fair and inclusive workplace for everyone. That's all for me. I'll be passing it to another presenter.
Hello, good day, Miss. My name is Muhammad Shifa bin Muhammad Rozi, and I will be presenting about the impacts and consequences of the issues. So there are 6 in total. The first one is hiring and promotion inequities. Hiring and promotion processes can be unfair due to biases and favoritism, where personal connections or demographic preferences outweigh merit. In Malaysia, women and certain ethnic minorities often face barriers to leadership roles because of the organizational cultures that favor specific groups. And this lack of diversity limits opportunities for talented individuals and weakens the workplace inclusion. The second one is reduce employee morale and engagement. So when employees feel unappreciated or see favoritism in promotions, they may choose to leave. So in Malaysia, some companies prioritize personal relationship over the merit, causing talented employee to feel stuck. And this lead to dissatisfaction, high turnover, and toxic work culture that harms productivity. The third one is reduce productivity and innovation. So workplace discrimination lower employee motivation, productivity, and job satisfaction, leading to disengagement and turnover. It also increase the stress and reduce the confidence, making employees less likely to contribute or take on challenges. The fourth one is misunderstandings and errors. So this is basically like language barriers and cultural differences can cause misunderstandings and inefficiencies in the workplace, especially in the multicultural settings like Malaysia. So miscommunication can lead to errors, delays, and reluctance to voice concerns, ultimately of affecting productivity and collaboration. So the fifth one is limited career growth and wage gaps. This is like I mentioned before, women and gender minorities face barriers in promotion and leadership due to traditional biases and societal expectations. So in Malaysia, they remain underrepresented in senior roles and often experience wage disparities, affecting career motivation and financial stability. And the last one is workplace conflicts and miscommunications. So generational differences in communication styles can cause workplace challenges, as younger employees prefer digital methods while the older employees value face-to-face interactions. So these differences in work expectations, such as flexibility versus traditional structures, can also lead to misunderstandings. So that's all from me. I will pass the floor to the next presenter.
Hi, Miss. My name is Yarkini, so I'm going to talk about the conclusion, short and simple. So, solving HR management issue leads to a happier, fair, and more successful workplace for everyone. So that's all from us.